Hello. Good. Hey Ali, how are you? Yeah, just trying to. Hi. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks, Ali. Anyway, I want to talk about the petroleum prices that have been brought down in the Gambia. I think it's a welcome move. We're all happy that the price of petroleum at the pump, at least for once, reflects what happens in the international markets. A government must always endeavor to communicate with the citizenry. And communicating with the citizenry starts with them giving the citizenry genuine and bona fide information. If not, the government is involved in spinning. And spinning is when the government tries to find an alternate truth that suits their need but is not in conformity with the real facts and the truth. Having said that, I read a press release earlier today by the Office of the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance stated to all of us that the price of petroleum went down, and we were all elated and we were all happy, and that's what we expected. But where they went wrong is when they told us is a sign of a goodwill gesture. A sign of a goodwill gesture will see the Ministry of Finance deep down in their pockets and pay for us. Then it will be goodwill gesture. But if you reduce the prices to reflect the current global prices, there is no goodwill gesture there because you didn't lose a fathom, not even a butut. You lost nothing. And if you don't lose a thing or you didn't give away anything, there is no sign of goodwill. So a favor wasn't done to the taxpayer. No one gave the Gambian anything extraordinary. So it's nothing to jubilate. Hadn't it been that the price of petroleum went up, and instead of the government changing the prices to reflect the hike in price, that would have been a goodwill gesture. But the prices are down. So for over 45 to 60 days, the government have been overpricing the population of this country. We've been paying over and beyond what we should be paying for a price of petroleum at the pump. It's never too late, and the government has realized that, and now they have realigned the prices to suit the realities, meaning what we are paying now, and mind you, they are yet to get to the floor, meaning there is still space left. Petrol in today's global market and in today's dollar versus dollar rate, we can sell petrol for no more than $31 a liter. So there is still space for the government to maneuver and even bring prices further down. So what does that mean? It means government have collected all the taxes they could have collected or should have collected. The importer has collected all the monies, expenses he incurred in bringing the product. It's the consumer who has been shortchanged. How has the consumer been shortchanged? The consumer has been shortchanged in the sense that the consumer is paying for 1 liter of petrol more in terms of costings. What we are paying is more than the true cost. The true cost means the importer's margin. The true cost means all the taxes that the government should have collected. The true cost means all the margin the retailer should have collected. If you put all those together, they are still less than the price we are paying. Therefore, there is still a cushion in that price, and that cushion is still our money. So let us know for a fact that the government didn't do anybody a favor. And morally, it is wrong for the government to put in their press release that they are encouraging drivers, commercial drivers, to find a way to bring the price of fares, taxi fares, down. Where were the government when petroleum prices go up and they're not giving an incentive to the taxi drivers? That clearly states that transportation in Gambia is an open market, and in an open market, the market determines where the price levels are. So if the very government that never intervened and gave drivers something to compensate them when the prices went up and they never increased their prices, they should have no space to tell drivers to reduce their prices when the petroleum prices go down. Let the market dictate where the prices should be. But I think it's high time, my dear brothers and sisters, us, the Gambians, we start picking the grain from the chaff. We're not stupid people, but oftentimes we allow others to take us for a ride. And taking us for a ride starts with people looking at us blatantly in the eye and rubbing it in our face like they're doing us a favor. The government of the Gambia hasn't done any Gambian a favor by reducing the pump price of fuel in this country. It's the international prices that have dictated that the government of the Gambia must reduce their prices. And in reducing, the government of the Gambia is yet to reduce the prices to where it ought to go. So, price of petrol can still go down another $3 to $5 depending on either diesel, kerosene, and or PMS, petrol. So, let us know our rights. Let us know our obligations, and let us not be taken for fools, because we are not fools. Oftentimes, the government and many other governments take their citizenry for a joke by running a number. Basically, this is a number. I read the press release and it was troubling for the simple fact that my government is telling me, as a sign of a goodwill gesture, I am reducing the price of petroleum. What a joke. What an insult to the intelligence of the Gambian. The government of the Gambia hasn't done any citizen a favor as it relates to the new petroleum prices. I'm saying maybe if the price went up and they left the current price at the pump as is, yes, that would have been a sign of a goodwill gesture. But prices going down and you adjusting accordingly, hush, that's not a favor. But at least this is good stimulus for the economy, because this will allow the economy. That's where I give you credit, that you have come up with a good public policy measure to make sure that a stimulus happens in the economy. And that is, now the Gambian consumer is having a little bit more disposable income to spend on other commodities and other economic services. That, I'll say kudos to the Ministry of Finance for doing so. But I want to urge the government, not only the Ministry of Finance, the government as a whole, to have a good communication mechanism with the citizens. We are the reason why you are. If you are working for us, we the people, you should do a best endeavor to make sure you adequately and efficiently communicate with us without distorting the facts, without massaging the facts, and without trying to score a political point. Gambians are not stupid, and those days are gone. And no one is going to take Gambians for a ride. So, my fellow Gambians, please do not congratulate the government for bringing the price of fuel down. That's duty bound. And basically, it's a corrective economic decision. They're correcting the price levels of petroleum in the economy. And doing so, no one needs a clap. No one needs a pat. If not, they're cheating you. The moment they leave the prices where they are right now, it would have been cheating the public. By adjusting the prices to reflect the global realities of petroleum, they're doing the right thing. And when people do the right thing and people do what is expected of them, no pat in the back. But I will pat the government in the back that they have come up with a responsive policy decision to make sure that this price reduction becomes a stimulus for the economy. That I will give you a pat in the back. And we need to speak truth to power. We need to be honest with each other, and we need to stop massaging the egos of our servants. These technocrats and politicians are servants of the people. And we must and we should stop massaging their egos like they have done us a favor. No one has done us a favor. The market is saying this is where they should be selling. This is the level that they should be selling the product. Therefore, where the price of petroleum is at today is a clear indication of how petroleum is performing globally. So, no favor has been done to you, and no one has done anything extraordinary for you. And if anybody, for that matter, says that as a sign of goodwill, what's the goodwill? There is no goodwill there. It's the right thing to do. And when people do the right thing, that is what's expected of them. And I'm not being harsh. I'm just being real. And it's high time we Gambians, we get real and stop babysitting our politicians and technocrats. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of, I won't even call it childish, but irresponsible comments on Facebook. Kudos to our government for bringing the price of fuel down. Oh, that's the right thing to do. If not, they'll be cheating us, meaning they are charging us more than what it costs to buy fuel. And that is wrong. So basically, the price are where they ought to be, and that is what is expected of a government. And like I always say, and I will continue to say, let us stop babysitting grown men and women who should be serving the public. You cannot be a servant of the public and yet still behave like a master. And this is what we need to stop as Gambians. We have allowed our political servants to be our political masters. And that's an affront to our dignity. That's an affront to our democracy. And that is not what we want. Gambia is not a fiefdom. Gambia is a democracy. And in a democracy, people who opt to be in public service must be selfless. You cannot be a public servant and be selfish. So whenever they do their job, that is what's expected of them because that's what they signed up to do. I will not clap for anybody that's doing what is expected of them. Case in point, if you are a head of a household, you provide school fees for your kids, you put food on the table, yes, your kids should appreciate you, but they should not clap for you because that is what's expected of you anyway. And that's where we and these politicians and technocrats are right now. When a technocrat comes up with good, responsive public policy, that's why they're getting paid. They're working for their paycheck. When a politician does what is expected of them, that's what they're supposed to do. And it's us Gambians who make these people think they're holier than thou. It's us Gambians who let these people grow feathers. It's us Gambians who make these people think they can look down on the very people who entrust them with power. But it's us. It's our fault. And that's what we need to change as a people. The sooner we do that, the political class will know where power lies. Power lies with you and me. Power doesn't lie with the very people we entrust power with. And that's why most of them are either called public servants or civil servants. They choose to be elected and they beg for us to vote them in office. When we vote them in office, They either do what we want or we give them a red card once we get back to the ballot. And most of them want to come back a second round. So they need to do what we expect of them. So no thank you to the government of the Gambia for reducing the price, because that price reduction, for one, is long overdue. Oil markets have been crashing since late February, early March. And don't tell me that the bureaucracy in Gambia took 45 to 60 days to do a corrective action. That is wrong. And it's even bad for the economy, because the economy needs a jolt. The economy needs a stimulus. And the best stimulus this economy can have is making sure price levels are low so that inflation will not creep. It's making sure that households have extra disposable income. And when you reduce the price per liter at the pump or at the petrol station, you're giving Gambians more disposable income. With more disposable incomes in their hands, the economy gets buoyant. And right now, we have passed the stage of containment as it relates to COVID. So now we are moving into mitigation and recovery. And in mitigation, the policy that the Ministry of Finance came up with today is a good mitigation strategy, because you have reduced the price at the pump, giving the Gambian consumer more disposable income. Because if they had a need for 20 liters of fuel a week, and that 20 liters was costing them $1,000, now they can have the 20 liters for no more than $800. So they have extra $200 to spend in any other thing. And that is a plus for the economy. And that's what the economy needs. And that's what we call stimulus. And I will say to the Minister of Finance, kudos for making sure that the economy gets stimulated. But it's not a goodwill, because it costed you nothing. If it were a goodwill, it will be a dent in your fiscal bottom line, your balance. But this has zero dent in your fiscal operation. You are not losing a penny out of 1 liter of fuel that I buy, because all costs that should be incurred by the importer and also collected by the state have been collected adequately, to the point there is an additional, and that additional is what we are talking about. We are yet to get to the floor. When I say floor, we are yet to get to the optimal price level. Optimal price level meaning all taxes collected and all cost of importing the fuel collected and all margins paid by the retailer. If that happens, the price can go down $3 to $4 extra. So let us stop fooling Gambians. No one is a fool. And there's a difference between communicating and spinning. And the government must not be engaging in spinning. The government must engage in communicating. And that's why I am saying that communication is an art. And the government must master the art of communication and communicate with its citizenry. And spinning is a craft, and craft is for crafty people. And I don't expect the government of the Gambia to enter into a spinning game with the citizenry of this country. Let's be serious with each other, and let's take the business of trying to stabilize and allow this economy to recover, make it something serious. It is a serious thing, and no one is a fool, and those days are long gone. So government of the Gambia, wake up, because your citizens have woken up. No more and not anymore. And the era of patronage is over also. No one is going to condone patronage, and no one should be babysitting politicians at the expense of the taxpayer. Let us be serious for once, Gambians. We want a better country. Let us do the right thing. Let us hold these people accountable. We want a better country. Let's stop this Maslaha syndrome. We want a better country. Let us be indifferent to who is pissed off or happy with us. I personally don't care who is happy or who is sad about what I say. So long as I know I'm not infringing on anyone's right and I'm doing what's right because I feel like someone wants to shortchange us. No one will shortchange Gambians so long as I'm around, because I will call a spade a spade. And I expect this from most and all of us. We should be vigilant, and we should be very jealous of our democracy. And being jealous of our democracy is pointing people out. Nothing's wrong with that. I will say a big congratulations to the Ministry of Finance for having a good stimulus package for the economy. But there is no goodwill gesture by bringing the price down. Bringing the price down is the right thing to do and is the ethical thing to do. So when public policy practitioners do what is expected of them, no, Nyang Njie is not going to clap for anybody. That is what it is. And what I expect is what's been done, even though we have been shouting for over 2 months, bring the prices down, because we know you've been keeping what's not yours, meaning the Exchequer, the Ministry of Finance, the state has been keeping monies that were not theirs. I was paying $50 a liter for fuel when all cost plus tax was less than $50. The difference has always been mine, but the state has been keeping it. At least now the state is conscientious enough to give me a bulk of it, not all of it, but a bulk of it. So in doing so, I will not call your decision a goodwill gesture. I will call your decision an apt decision, the decision that you should have taken, but better late than never. But I'm not going to congratulate you, and I will not accept your statement that it's a goodwill gesture. It is not a goodwill gesture. You are giving me what's mine. It would have been a goodwill gesture if you are giving me something that's yours, the state, by reducing your taxes. Then I would have called that a goodwill gesture. But you didn't put anything in my pocket, so don't tell me you've done me a favor. And I want Gambians to wake up and be vigilant. Why do we allow ourselves to be taken for fools? And I've been following Facebook, and I've seen a lot of smart by half Gambians clapping for the government for reducing the price of fuel for them. What an unfortunate incident in 2020 that Gambians are still not sophisticated to understand that governments don't do them a favor, but government provides services for them. And that's the role of government, public service delivery. And in that public service delivery, it has to be efficient. And it being efficient is making sure that they don't add anything on top of the true cost. Government is not a business entity to be making profits on a windfall, because when prices go down and you are not passing on the cost all the way, it means you're making a windfall. And it's not the responsibility of government to make a windfall. Now I will switch to another area. It's been 2 months. Price of petroleum internationally has dropped more than 40-50%. Yes, you can say that the economy has a lag effect, and that lag effect takes time. But in as much as it takes time, the reorder cycle for NAWEC as a company is nothing more than 45 days. We're talking about 60 days since the price of fuel went down. NAWEC kilowatt, the cost of 1 kilowatt hour for NAWEC by now should have commensurate with where the global prices are. And that is, it should be nowhere more than at least 40% less, 30% less. That is what needs to happen. Uncle Larry, maybe I need to send you a cup of espresso that will keep you up. But anyway, I'm just trying to say that our cost of kilowatt hour needs to go down, because fuel is a major input for NAWEC in their price buildup. So if the price of fuel consistently stays down for over 60 days, the price per kilowatt hour of NAWEC must also come down. If not, NAWEC is making a windfall off of my money, meaning their cost of production is less than what they're selling me the electricity. And that is cheating. And the government must take care of that. And that must be addressed. So yes, Thank you that the pump price has been addressed. So now let's turn to the giant in the room, and that is NAWEC. NAWEC needs to come down, and this has to happen. So we, the people, have been gifting the public enterprise NAWEC. We, the people, have been gifting importers and GRA our money by paying more than the cost of 1 liter of fuel for over 60 days. And mind you, when fuel goes up in the market, now the government will not even wait for 24 hours. They will adjust accordingly so that the importer will not bear 1 penny loss, and the state, meaning government, will not lose 1 penny of its taxes. But when the price go down, they suppress the differential and will sit on it as long as they want to. That is cheating, and that is wrong, and that is one thing that I don't condone. And that's why we Gambians need to open our eyes and stop telling government, thank you for bringing the price down, or government sending us a message telling us as a sign of goodwill they're bringing in the prices down. I don't want to use that word, but that is fuckery, and we should not allow it. Sorry for my language. We should not allow that, and that's why Gambians need to open their eyes and understand that we deserve better, and no one must and should take us for a ride. And that is my bone of contention. I support this government because I played a role in bringing this government into power by going out to vote. So I am an underwriter of this government and the current president himself. So I will not frustrate or sabotage anything they're doing. But if it's not in line with the interests of the greater good, I'm going to yell. And all of you should be yelling when things are not in the interest of the greater good. And that is what is expected of good citizenry. We should jealously guard this thing. Finally, I want to talk about the Constitution. You see, Gambians, we're very ad hoc. We're very reactionary. And right now, our reaction is all COVID, COVID, COVID. And guess what? The clock is ticking. And the clock is ticking on this Constitution. And I am pretty sure that the government is not interested in making sure that this Constitution changes anytime soon, because the status quo as it relates to election favors them. It's a simple majority. So the more time they take, the less chances we're going to have in terms of having a new constitution. And if we don't have a new constitution, term limits, simple majority, all these things will not be addressed. So let's put pressure on our government to make sure, COVID or no COVID, we go ahead with the electoral process and constitutional process to change the constitution and have our referendum. Open your eyes, Gambians. Stop following the crowd and the noise in the market. Pick the grain from the chaff and understand that there is a bigger picture, and don't allow yourselves to be taken for a ride. The bigger picture is we are going into an election cycle, and we want to go into an election cycle with a clean new constitution, not what we have today. So let's start making noise on the issue of the constitution. Let's start making sure that some good work is done on that, because we have been given a document. I don't care. That document is good enough for us to pass. So let's force the government to kickstart the process. Let the president send that document to Parliament and the process begins. If people start buying time, be wary. They may be looking for extensions. They may be looking to make sure that we extend the term. I voted for a president for no more than 5 years. And for that 5 years to expire, we need to prepare for election. And we don't want to prepare for any election based on the current document that we have. We want to prepare for elections with a new constitution. So let us put pressure on the office of the president to send the draft to the parliament sooner than later. Because from the look of things, if this delay persists, there may be a request for an extension, and that extension will jeopardize our electoral cycle, thereby prolonging our agony. Well, I am in agony. I don't know about you guys, but as a Gambian, I'm being honest with myself. I'm in agony because this is not what I bargained for. This is not why I sacrifice. This is not why Yaya Jammeh bulldozed my house. Not this Gambia. It's a better Gambia that I wanted. And that's why I stuck my neck out there. So we should jealously guard that and ask them to send the draft constitution to the assembly so that we can kickstart the process and have a referendum. If we miss the window, trust me, they will ask for an extension, and the extension can go to 2022, 2023. So let us push and make sure we get what we want, and what we want is our constitution to go to the parliament. From the parliament, we the people deliberate on it, have a referendum, yes or no, accept it and move on. I always tell Gambians that we need to really read between the lines, that's one, and understand the undertones that are going on. Politicians will always be politicians, and politicians are shrewd and crafty. And the citizens are naive. And our naivety is what's giving us problems. So please, Gambians, let us make sure we put pressure to get our draft constitution where it ought to go. First at the parliament, then to the people. We make the decisions so that our next election, we will have term limits. Our next election, not a simple majority. No one will come here and win with 20% and rule us. Oh, hell no. It should not, and we must not condone it. On that note, I want to say a great good night and a great Walker's Day to all. God bless you, and good night from the Gambia. Bye-bye.